Hello, I'm Tai. Today, I'd like to talk about Bitcoin Achilles heel. What could break the collective trust in it and ultimately destroy its value? To begin, let's compare Bitcoin to the US dollar. What's the difference? Bitcoin is backed by blockchain technology, while the US dollar is supported by the US government. But what they have in common is the concept of collective trust. The value of both currency relies on the belief that they can be exchanged for goods and service. For example, you and I trust the US dollar, so we can trade it for product or service. Similarly, if Tesla and you both trust Bitcoin, you can exchange Bitcoin for a car. Now, let's consider an example of what could break this trust. Look at Zimbabwe's currency. At one point, inflation spiraled out of control, and the currency became almost worthless, reaching denominations as high as 100 billion. As the currency loses its value, people stop trusting it and turn to the US dollar instead. These show that currency is built on collective trust. When the belief rots, so does the value. But what could break this collective belief? To understand that, let's consider an analogy from history. For centuries, European believed that all swans were white. They had never seen a swan of any other color. But in 1697, a Dutch explorer in Western Australia discovered a black swan. Just one black swan was enough to shatter the belief that all swans were white. Similarly, a single event, what's known as a black swan event, can collapse the belief in Bitcoin. So let's explore the vulnerability that could destroy trust that could cause such an event. Decentralizing trust, destabilizing trust in Bitcoin. If people stop believing in Bitcoin, if no one trades it anymore, it will lose its value. But before we dive into these vulnerabilities, we need to first understand how Bitcoin works. The key difference between Bitcoin and the bank is centralization. A bank is a centralized institution where you deposit money, and the bank manages the transactions. In contrast, Bitcoin operates on a decentralized system. There is no central authority managing it. Instead, Bitcoin used a shared ledger that is accessible to everyone. This means that, that when a transaction occurs, everyone knows about it. When Alice pays Bob 100 ledger dollars, everyone will see that. And there's no need for a central authority to track all transactions. This decentralization is the foundation of Bitcoin security. But you might ask, how do we know all the transactions are legitimate? How do we ensure the ledger hasn't been tampered with? That's where SHA-256 comes in. Bitcoin uses this cryptographic function to verify transactions. Miners solve complex functions to validate a transaction and add it to the blockchain. The blockchain, as the name suggests, is a chain of blocks, each containing transaction data and its corresponding hash value. These blocks are linked together, forming an immutable chain that guarantee the integrity of Bitcoin transaction history. Now, with a basic understanding of how Bitcoin and blockchain work, let's examine the potential black swan events, those vulnerabilities that could destroy trust in Bitcoin. First thing is the technical vulnerabilities. If a single entity controls more than 50% of Bitcoin computational power, meaning if there's a miner who has so many computers that can calculate the SHA-256 function, it could potentially rewrite transactions and disrupt the system. These would fundamentally damage trust in Bitcoin. Next, quantum computing threats. Experts predict that by 2027, quantum computers could break the cryptographic security that protects Bitcoin's private keys. If this happens, and we can counteract it, anyone with a quantum computer could access your Bitcoin and steal it. Another thing is Bitcoin rigid designs make it difficult to upgrade. This leads to the competition. If new, more efficient blockchain technologies emerge, offering faster transaction times, lower fees, and better security, or as rigid as Bitcoin is, but with those better features, Bitcoin could become obsolete. Meaning, if there's an identical Bitcoin just comes out of the market immediately with all the rigid design that support Bitcoin with a very good best security. However, with a faster fees, with a faster transaction time and lower fees, it means Bitcoin will be obsolete and just overnight. Nobody might just sell all the Bitcoins because now there's a better technology. At last, taking a look of the ethical concern, the market manipulation. A small group of large Bitcoin holders, often referred to as whales, can manipulate the market by buying or selling large amounts of Bitcoin. This causes instability and raises ethical concerns about fairness and the wealth distribution within the Bitcoin network. In conclusion, understanding the technology behind Bitcoin can help us better assess potential threats. By staying informed, we can better evaluate the legitimacy of emerging risks and recognize whether they could actually disrupt Bitcoin. It is important to remember that black swan events, unpredictable occurrence, they can collapse trust are always a possibility, and that could happen at any time. Thank you.